right, so Sienna arrives at Paca's house. I don't know why the game decided to move him into this humongous house. But we're just going to say that Paca is a famous writer or something like that. I think his job is a writer. And as usual, I'm having audio issues. But anyway, so she greets Paca with the baby. He was nice enough to send her a taxi. So she arrives and she sees these two people here. And she's like, who are these people? And he's like, this is a cop lady. She's one of my friends. And I told her about the situation. And she basically gave me some information about what was the best thing to do. So now she's here with a social worker. And the social worker is basically going to take the baby. So I guess typically what happens in a situation like this is they have to find out who the parents are or who any of the family is. So they'll, wait a few weeks to do a missing persons or whatever, or say, any information about this baby or whatever. And if they can't find any information about the baby, then they'll put the baby up for adoption. And then Sienna will have a chance to basically adopt the baby. So this is her first time meeting the social worker, who is going to be basically the liaison, like between her and, basically in the process of trying to adopt the baby, which Sienna is quite interested in doing because she feels some attachment to the baby. So basically everybody's just sort of chatting about the legal procedures or whatever. And the cop is supposed to just be taking notes. It looks like she's telling a fantastic story. And even though the game is free will is not on, this social worker decides it's a great time to grill something. The storytelling in The Sims is not the easiest thing in the world. But anyway, Sienna wants to show her interest in the baby. She wants to show the social worker that she knows what she's doing when it comes to taking care of a baby. So she is just basically, saying hello or, I guess saying goodbye to the baby because she can't take the baby like immediately. But she definitely wants to show her willingness. And the baby's diaper got dirty again so fast. So Sienna's like, oh, I got it. I can do it. And changes the baby's diaper. The social worker's pretty impressed with her. And now it's time to say goodbye. So everybody heads to the front door. Sienna thanks the police officer, says goodbye. She hopes she'll be in contact with him soon. And the police officer's like, yeah, sure, I'll keep in touch with you, no worries. And she goes to say goodbye to Paca, and Paca's like, I think it's really great that you are considering adopting the baby. I think that's a very responsible thing to do. And, I'm really close friends with this officer, so, no worries about that. But I think it's a good idea if you get a lawyer. And luckily Samantha's dad is a family lawyer, so she thinks he'll be able to help her, and she appreciates Paca for giving her such great advice. And they just basically say goodbye here. She heads back home. So she comes in, and unfortunately she finds her mom is in a pretty bad mood. Not again, she says. She was really not in the mood to put up with her mom, but she supposes that she'll have a chat with her. She's really not happy with her mom for not basically hearing her out when she called her earlier. So they're going to argue about that for a little while. Mom, I really needed you this morning. How dare you hang up on me? I have such crazy news to tell you guys. You're never going to believe what happened. And she's like, Sienna, you must be crazy if you think you're going to be raising a child. You must be crazy. Do you know how much it takes? Do you know how much time and energy and money it takes? You're not ready for a step like this. Yeah? Sienna's like, I don't even know why I ask you anything. She finally gets a moment to herself. And she finally pee. She's been needing to pee all day. Must feel good. And she's going to freshen up a little bit. It's nice to have a moment to herself. It's her first time she has a moment to herself. As an introvert, these times are important. So anyway, now she's changed, and she sees her brother's home doing his homework. I don't know why he's just standing there. This game is weird. And I still don't know why she's acting embarrassed, but basically she's just helping him with his homework. You can see she's looking a little fluffy. That's not part of the plan. I don't think she's been eating that much. Like, she skipped meals on some days. It hasn't been that long since I started the playthrough, but for some reason, she's gaining weight. This game is really weird. And, yeah. He hates school. The only thing he likes about school is his friends. So he's just kind of complaining and lamenting. But here she goes. She's about to make food. She doesn't necessarily have to do this anymore, but she's hungry and she doesn't have any food at home. At her new house. So, yeah, she's willing to basically make a meal at the moment. And her brother's supposed to be talking to her, but for some reason the game just doesn't like to start animations. Storytelling is not easy. It's really not. Like, they don't obey half the time. When it works, it's a lot of fun, but when it doesn't, it can be frustrating. She's just messing up all over the place. But finally, he sits down and they have a nice little chat. Even though she's an introvert, she loves the company of her brother. They're like besties. She is just doing the most right now. And she is definitely not cleaning that counter. Anyway, she made some noodles. And now everybody's just going to eat because they're basically just like home and they're hungry and they're just ready to eat. And it's just kind of like a routine. But she's all like, don't get used to this, you guys. I got my own place now. I seriously cannot win with the audio. I have an audio issue every time I record anything. This time there's a weird echo. I have no idea why. But everybody's enjoying the meal. Okay, so afterwards, she decides she's going to sit down and talk to her dad about the situation. She's really curious if he really can help her. So she's like, Dad, earlier today I found a baby. And I went to my friend Pocket's house, and the social worker took the baby. But I'm seriously considering adopting the baby. And he's like, really? I deal with this kind of thing all the time. And she's like, you do? And he's like, yeah. She's like, well, that's pretty cool. He's like, yeah, it's a pretty simple process. So long as you wait until they can see if they know any relatives of the baby. And like, odds are it'll work out for you in the end, if it's what you really want. And she's like, oh, what about the paperwork and stuff? He's like, I can help you with that, no problem. And she's like, awesome. He's like, but, raising a baby is a big responsibility. And she's like, I got this. She's like, you should have seen me earlier today with the social worker. I did such an amazing job. And he's like, really? Okay. I'm not sure if I'm ready to be a granddad yet. But he will support her. As she arrives home, she notices that there's a guy who's coming up on her property. And she's like, I wonder what this is about. But he doesn't seem like a scary guy. And she remembers seeing him at the community center, so she's not scared to ask him what's going on. And he's like, hey, hi, I am a neighbor. I live very close by with my husband. And I have a niece. And we can't find her. And she's like, hey, I'm sorry? Oh, what do you mean you can't find her? And he's like, well, she was staying with us. She's in high school. She looks like this. She's about yay tall. Have you seen her? And she's like, no, sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen any teenage girls around here. He's like, okay, well, if you hear anything, can you please let us know? If you see anybody, if you hear anything about her, can you please let us know? We live in the big house down the block. And she's like, sure. Absolutely. If anything happens, I'll let you know. And she's like, I haven't really had a chance to meet people, so it's nice to meet you in any case. And he's like, yeah. My name's Brent or Brant. I can't remember which one. And they chat for a little bit, get to know each other before he takes off. Okay, so now that we have a moment to ourselves, we can go ahead and make our loan payment for the day. They sound like aliens. There's nobody here. I don't know what the voice is. It must be people who are just off the screen. Anyway, she's going to go to sleep for the night. Alright, the next morning, bright and early, she heads off to the local health club, where she's going to get in a little bit of exercise. And she really likes going here. Basically, she uses her mom's membership because her mom used to go when she was younger, but she doesn't go anymore. But she has a lot of perks and benefits that have come to her for being a good customer for such a long time, and also for being for having connections to her company. So Sienna's able to use all of the facilities for free with her mom's pass. Well, basically for free. She'll pay for the yoga class, though, because that to me feels kind of like one of those community things that we do these days. That's like, you know, not like a Fiverr. You know what I mean? Like you just hire a person for a short period of time to do something. Like this person is just like a person in the community who's like, yeah, I'm going to have yoga classes. And they pass out a flyer. They like leave a flyer in your mailbox. That kind of thing. So she'll pay for the yoga class. And this is her first time doing yoga. So she's not very good at it. And it wasn't a plan, but Paka wound up being there too. So it's kind of a nice experience for her. Maybe Paka invited her. Yeah, maybe when they met the day before, it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to go to this yoga class. Maybe you want to join me. And she's like, yeah, I'll go with you. But to be perfectly honest, Paka, I don't know what happened to Kiyoshi, who's hanging out here in the corner. I stole his yoga mat, so that's why he's not doing it. And then Paka started to stink, so he just stopped because he was uncomfortable. But you can see this lady here in front of her also doesn't know what she's doing. But she's a pretty lady, and she's a young adult. Okay, not that you wouldn't talk to people who aren't pretty. That's very rude of me to say, I understand. But she seems like a nice lady. I'll just put it that way. So we just kind of want to get to know her. She has nice hair. She's also an islander. I don't know why she's here. But anyway, I was just saying that, Sims just tend to randomly wind up places where they're not supposed to be. It can be kind of annoying in the game. But it's whatever. Alright, so after changing, she feels refreshed and ready to start her day. Alright, so back on her lot, it's time to put in a nice hard day of work. She didn't have an opportunity to work the day before, so she's going to try to make up for that today. And with this, I don't know if it's typical, but it takes a long time for the first customer to arrive, and customers usually only arrive like one at a time. And in the previous episode, she didn't have much luck. People kept turning down the merchandise, which was unfortunate. But hopefully today we'll have better luck. Okay, so once again, I'll just have her go around sort of taking a look at some things that she can or can't set for sale. She considers what she wants to keep or what she wants to throw out. She's kind of on her own today in terms of cleaning up around the place. But there's some stuff that looks nice, but actually it turns out it's not very expensive, so it's kind of not worth it to sell. A lot of this stuff is just junk, pretty much. But there are some things from the previous episode that I put in an inventory that I never sold, so I'm going to sell them now. Like this, like her brother should be in school right now. He's not supposed to just be showing up, like, just at any time. Honestly, he showed up at the health club as well. And that was kind of annoying. Like, he joined the conversation between her and that lady. That I had to kind of cut it short because I didn't want him to show up. But then he showed up here again. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to keep cutting. I'm just going to keep cutting parts out just because her brother keeps showing up everywhere. But anyway, it's whatever. It's close enough, I guess, to, the late afternoon, so it doesn't matter. So he's just going to hang out here, but she's not really going to interact with him very much. So luckily, a customer bought something, and I made a mistake in the previous episode about, like, managing the money. Basically, it's okay to sell it out of the inventory, But I shouldn't get any money for it. So for now, each time a customer buys something, I'm just going to put it in the inventory. And then I'm also going to collect things she's not going to sell around the property into her household inventory. And when I'm ready, I'm just going to basically delete them and then delete the money that she receives for them. So it'll be like genuinely like she sold it, but didn't restock it. Okay, and she still can't talk to them. This guy, he's like a college student. He's just coming by trying to get some cheap appliances for his dorm or something like that. Maybe his first apartment. Which doesn't really make sense in America. I mean, I live in Japan right now, so it makes sense in Japan. When you move into a place, it doesn't typically have those appliances. So you have to buy... A lot of people use washers here. So you have to buy a washer, you have to buy a microwave, you have to buy a refrigerator. And if it does have a stove, it usually only has a stove top. So I was thinking, okay, well, he's probably trying to get his apartment ready. But then I completely forgot that, like, in America, you know, The Sims is pretty much an American game, right? So in America, that's not a problem. Why would you need to buy a new refrigerator if you're moving into a new apartment? So I don't know. But that was what my idea was when I saw him doing that. So once again, I'm just collecting some things. We're just, using our imagination a little bit that she's cleaning up around the place because she wants to get the outside ready before the inside because she wants the lot to look presentable, as she starts a business here. So I'm going to sell all these items, and you can see it's worth a pretty good amount because the lot itself was like $45,000. So there are a lot of things here and some of them are quite valuable, but she's not going to keep this money. We're just going to imagine she just threw it out. This was part of the reason why Kohei was like complaining, "Oh, you'll be sorry," when she bought the property because she assumed she'd be able to sell a lot more. But these little small items that kind of fit in the front that you would sell at a yard sale are not worth very much. So she's losing a lot of money by just throwing things away. All right, so at this point, we have another customer. Things are going a lot smoother this time than they were the last time. But customers aren't really coming. So yeah, here. Closing the store, you can see that she does get the value for the items that we sold for free out of her inventory. That's how she will get the money for that. All right, so... considering what else I want her to sell, now that she sold a few of the bigger items, I'm just going to take some time to drag them over, sort of rearrange them. I think I'll have her keep those little items, those paint-related items, because they're good for creativity. And she is a creative sim. She likes to make art and things like that, so we're going to keep those things. But some of these smaller things I'm going to have her try to sell. And I'm just going to mark up the retail value. This part takes a little bit of time, so I'm just speeding up 4 times. Oh, I forgot to sell this thing. I think that was in the front of her lot before as well. We don't really need it. We're not going to be doing any of the rags to riches style, so she doesn't need anything like that. It's nice to have the tint, though, because the inside looks like it's got roaches and stuff. And she's not in the mood for no roaches. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so again, there's no customers coming. Like, you can't talk to the customers or anything, so it's just kind of boring with her standing around. So I'll have her make a few more paintings. And in the previous episode also, I recognized another problem. I set the markup just by instinct to 300%, but it's not realistic. Yeah, her brother just left. He was just inside it the whole time, just not doing anything. But anyway, I set the markup to 300%. It's just an instinct that I have. I shouldn't have done that. The general markup is going to be 25%. For some of the items on the tarp that people are actually coming up and buying, like through the mod, some of those, the more expensive ones are a higher price. But for the other ones, I decided that that's not necessary. For the paintings, I decided that that's not necessary. 25% is fine for the paintings. So in the previous episode, she may have gotten a lot of money for that, and yeah, it's just a one-time thing. We'll just say it's just a one-time thing. But after that, moving forward, we'll just do 25% for all of her paintings. And those little tomes are actually worth quite a bit of money. So I think I'll set the markup quite high for those. The wall stackable paintings are also worth quite a bit. So I'm gonna set the markup kind of high for those. But no customers. Hey, where is everybody? But honestly, I think she sold about 4 different items today. Oh, here's another customer too. So her luck was better today. I don't know exactly what dictates that. I thought maybe it's because, yeah, then Summer bought something too. Awesome. Yeah, and then every time somebody buys something, I'm just deleting it off the tarp and trying to replace it with something else. Things aren't worth very much is the only problem. Like, if she only sells these little small things, she wouldn't be able to make her loan payments. But I also don't want to make it too easy for her. So, selling paintings is okay, but that shouldn't be the only thing that she does, and it shouldn't, like, we can't expect to get a lot of money for those types of things. But in terms of Sims money, I think the proportion is just about right. Yeah, we'll just wait to see if we can get anybody else coming today. But once she finishes her painting, I'm going to try a yard sale. Oh, okay, looks like he didn't want to buy anything, which is unfortunate. But I'm pretty happy with the job that she did today. I think she would be happy with herself. And of course, whether or not she has yard sales to try to sell some of the things on the property, she wants to eventually open a business here. Like, she wants to be running a business. She wants to maybe have a small little mama pop or whatever. Yeah, here I'm just setting the markup back down to 25%. I think that's better. And you can't have the yard sale and the open for business thing going at the same time, so that's why the store closed. Even though we had a customer. She didn't buy anything anyway. And actually, I think even though we're closed, for some reason customers might still come up and look at stuff, but maybe they just can't buy it. I don't know how it works. Alright, so we'll have her just sell. Yeah, and then here's her mom again. Her mom showed up last time too, and I tried to cut it out. It's just a matter of, the game just choosing random Sims to come by, and I can't tell the game, hey, don't send my mom over here. I don't want her to see my property yet. So we just pretend like she's not here. The best I could do. Okay, bye. Okay, so hopefully we can sell the last painting. Come on. Alright, so the last painting. And we'll end today's episode here with Sienna thinking about the baby, thinking about her situation, and hoping that she can do something that, big things are waiting for her in her future.